Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome to some Watch Dogs 2. So last week Ubisoft invited me to an event, had a chance to go hands-on with Watch Dogs 2, test out some of the campaign, some of the open world stuff, as well as a few other things as well. Didn't have a chance to go hands-on with multiplayer, so that is something that I am still really looking forward to, but unfortunately won't really be able to comment on too much for the time being. But regardless, what I want to do in this video is talk to you guys about Watch Dogs 2, talk about some of the changes since Watch Dogs 1, some of the new things coming to number 2, and just generally show you guys some gameplay in the background as well. I'll be jumping between a variety of different activities, some campaign missions, some open world stuff, things like customization, cars, etc. I will avoid any story spoilers, so there'll be no like big plot points in here or any kind of important cinematics or anything like that. So rest assured, if you guys are trying to keep the game fresh, then there will be no spoilers in this video. So, if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated, and definitely comment down below, let me know what you guys think about Watch Dogs 2, if you guys are looking forward to it, or if there's something in particular that you liked in the video. But either way, let's begin by talking about Watch Dogs 1 very briefly. So I actually played through the entirety of number 1, and generally speaking, I actually enjoyed my experience. I appreciate it was by no means a perfect game. There were a lot of things wrong with it, you know, car handling, a lack of kind of noteworthy missions, the fact that hacking is supposed to be a core component of the game, and felt a little bit shallow for the most part, but what I really liked about Watch Dogs 1 was the underlying concept. So I always felt at the end of it, kind of when I got to the end, I thought to myself, you know what? If they ever do a number 2, I feel like they will address a lot of these gripe points, because that tends to happen, you know, whenever there's like a new franchise, so to speak, where developers try something new and it's the first in the series, there tend to be a lot of like great ideas there, but sometimes they need like a second iteration to finesse that. Not necessarily saying that's always the case, but in the case of Watch Dogs, I definitely thought, you know, given a number 2, it would probably turn out pretty cool. And having played Watch Dogs 2, it's actually shaping up to be a very, very awesome game. It's something that I've been looking forward to. Even before going hands-on, just seeing the trailers, I was really looking forward to the game, seeing some of the developer diaries, whatnot. They've been working really hard, listening to community feedback, trying to address as many of the gripe points as possible from the first ones. So honestly, given the drive behind the team and some of the kind of changes they've been putting into this new game, it is shaping up to be a really cool experience. I probably spent most of my time playing multiplayer in Watch Dogs 1, that's where I got a lot of my fun out of it, but regardless, it is still, I've always been a fan of games or stories that basically have, you know, these sort of hacker organizations, underground organizations trying to take down the big man, so to speak. So it's safe to say that, you know, on a narrative point, I've always had a connection with Watch Dogs. But anyway, let's speak about the new game. So Watch Dogs 2 takes place in San Francisco. You play as Marcus Holloway, who's this young hacker dude. You don't play as Aiden Pierce anymore. I have no idea where Aiden's gone. Don't know whether he's retired, dead, don't know whether he'll turn up in this game. I have no idea, but the point is, Marcus is the guy you play as. He lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, so off the bat, San Francisco is just a much more vibrant, exciting city than Chicago. No offense to anyone living in Chicago, but I'm just saying from a gameplay point of view, it's much brighter, much more vibrant, there's a lot more stuff going on, and it's just generally speaking a kind of cool, hip place to be, so to speak. So there's that to begin with. It's also more than twice the size of the Watch Dogs 1 map, so of course you've got plenty more space to explore. It's supposedly broken down into, I believe, 6 districts. I only had a chance to kind of go to like a specific area during my time, but there is of course loads more stuff to explore. And the reason we're in San Francisco, besides the fact that we're playing as Marcus who lives there, is because CTOS is back. Believe it or not, after the events of Watch Dogs 1, even though that should have proved that CTOS was definitely not a good idea, they've brought it back with CTOS 2.0. It's now been installed in San Francisco, it's a lot more integrated, it basically affects pretty much everything, any kind of electronic device someone's got, cars, traffic lights, phones, laptops, shops, etc. So it's back, and Marcus joins DedSec, which is the kind of hacker organization, the underground organization, trying to take down CTOS 2.0, and of course, take down the organizations at the same time. So that's kind of the premise of the game, and that's like the reason behind why we're there. But if we speak a bit about the gameplay itself, so hacking is a much more predominant thing this time around. Even though in number 1, the game was about hacking, I always felt like the kind of hacking mechanics were, I always used to kind of jokingly say that it's basically press A to hack, but to a certain extent that's kind of how it was. Whereas this time around it's a lot more involved, there are a lot more things to hack, and hacks can be a lot more elaborate as well. You can combine hacks as well to create these, you know, much bigger events, and of course once you progress in the game, you can unlock more abilities, and while you can of course do a lot of stuff from your phone when you do eventually have your laptop as well, then you can do much bigger, much more elaborate hacks as well. And also under the hacking side of things, when it comes to missions, you can genuinely play through most missions stealthily and just hack your way through if you want to. Of course, if you guys are just like guns blazing kind of people, then you can just, grab a weapon, run in and play missions however you want. But for those of you guys that do like the stealthy approach, which is something that I've always been a fan of, then you can use hacking to your advantage. There were a few missions like that in Watch Dogs 1, but they seem to me a little bit kind of few and far between, whereas this time around, hacking underpins basically everything you do to the extent where it gives you so many more ways to play. So, simple things like hacking people or hacking their phones to kind of control them or distract them or, move them around, hacking cameras, throwing in things like RC cars, drones, and using those to go through air vents to get to different parts of the level. Loads of things like that are available to you, and of course you can also, create mass mayhem in cities. You can hack traffic lights, hack cars, do loads of things to like terrorize the people of San Francisco if you really want to. But the fact that there are a lot more options with regards to, the way you play the game is definitely a plus point. Now, I mentioned earlier things like RC cars and drones. There are loads and loads of gadgets you have available to you. You can also 3D print weapons. I don't know, how extensive that list is going to be, but the fact that that is kind of an option available to you means that you do have, potential for a much bigger arsenal. And speaking of weapons, one of the things that I do really, really like is just Marcus's default melee weapon. He has effectively a metal ball attached to a paracord, and it's brutal when you use it in combat. He just swings it around, smashes people over the head with it, and some of the takedowns are pretty insane, but it's just a really nice fluid system, and that fluidity extends past combat and goes also into just like general movement, because of course there's a whole parkour system. You can fluidly get around the place if you're not driving, you can run across and vault over walls, etc., and it just creates a much more sort of seamless experience, whereas the previous game was a lot more grounded in that respect. Of course, on top of that, being an open world game, there is the usual sort of stuff that you would come to expect. You have loads of shops you can visit, loads of clothes you can buy. There's a lot more stuff available to you this time around. It's not just changing the trench coat that you've got like Aiden used to have. There are a lot more customization options, but I will be addressing that more in a separate video coming later this week. There are, of course, loads of cars you can steal or buy. There are mini games you can take part in. You can race your drone. You can do a few other things as well. But generally speaking, as open worlds go, if you aren't doing your missions and you just kind of want to roam around, enjoy yourself and mess around and do loads of other things, then there is stuff for you to do. Of course, for me, one of the things I'm super excited to test out eventually is multiplayer, because as mentioned, Watch Dogs 1, I spent a lot of time playing the multiplayer in that. I did really enjoy it, so taking some of those cool modes, bringing them into Watch Dogs 2, which is of course already shaping up to be a much better experience, then I think that could have some really exciting prospects. But for the time being, that is it from me. So that was some Watch Dogs 2 gameplay. As mentioned, I'll have some more videos later on this week showing you guys some more aspects of the game, so stick around for those. But for the time being, comment down below, let me know your thoughts of the game, let me know if you guys are looking forward to it. And thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.